Now, over the past, the last year I should say, over 380 million viewers stream video game content. If you have a child of that age, you would understand. Now, that's more than HBO, Netflix, ESPN and Hulu combined. It is big money, and it led investment firm P.A.C Capital to take a stake in Picklebet. That's an esports betting company. To tell us more about the growth of esports is the head of investments at P.A.C, Clayton Larcombe. Thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
So, what prompted you to get into this in the first place?
It was a new area for me and my firm. We started this firm over 3 years ago. I met a company in Brisbane called Picklebet, and it's, as you've seen, sports bet, a lot of gaming companies kick off. And it started to come into my interests about esports gaming. I didn't really understand it. I think Australians didn't really understand what it was. And as it happened, during 2019, we saw a young kid of 16 years old, Booger, who won this Fortnite World Cup the first time. He won $3 million in prize money. $3 million. Tiger Woods won the Augusta Masters that year. He won $2 million. So I was like, these are big numbers.
Something's going on here.
So I started to really... I took a stake in Picklebet, which is essentially an online gaming service for esports. Now,
So Picklebet. So what is unique about Picklebet, or is there a way that you can differentiate between some of these esports players?
I think the space is very diverse, and it's so complex and so big. The music and film industry is worth $60 billion. The game industry is worth $150 billion. They're numbers that just blow your mind, and they're expected to go to $200 billion by 2023. So the enormity of it really highlighted for me. So Picklebet is obviously a pre-IPO stage for us, and we're looking at key investors right now to take to the next stage. And it's expanded a lot, and the Australian Gaming Commission are now allowed us to take international bettors. So we're deciding, where do we go? Asia? Do we go into the US? So this is this funding stage right now. So it's a very different to a points bet.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah. So how is it different to a points bet? Because I think that many of our viewers will be familiar with points bet.
Of course, that's a great comparison to make. Points bet, essentially, you take stakes, and they've just gone into the US, as you've seen, a big capital raise that they did. It's very different in a number of different factors than the fact that points bet, you have bets on NFL, gridiron matches, ice hockey. They're actual physical sports. What Picklebet is betting on, you're betting on these streamers on Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, which is the Facebook for gamers. You essentially bet on these, the FIFA, the Manchester United esports team, and it's huge, a huge amount of work goes into it.
So the overall sector has had some 12% growth over the past 5 years. What's the forecast?
Look, as I said before, the sector's looking like it's going to go to $200 billion by 2023. And as you spoke about on Friday, you had Adam Dawes and a few other people in here. VanEck just released an ETF. They're called Esports, ESPO. We added this to our portfolios on Monday. Small percentage, to 2 to 4%. What I like about that space and what they've done there is we want exposure to gaming. We're big on the gaming sector. And what this ETF does, it takes 25 names globally, and 50% of the companies have to have revenue in gaming. So that deletes Sony, deletes a few other players, but it includes Tencent. Tencent. 50% of Tencent's revenue comes from gaming.
Did not know that.
Exactly. It is huge.
So are you saying that the ETF might be sort of a low-touch way for mum and dad investors to sort of get in and leverage this thematic?
Well, in fact, those who don't understand it, because I would imagine most investors would not understand that.
It's spot on, and that's where we're at. And what it does, there's a lot of companies that are small cap upcoming in this sector, but what this ETF does, which I like, is it takes large cap companies with $5 billion in revenue or more, the top tier companies, 25 concentrated names, and also it has a currency hedge, which is mainly in US dollars, which is good for us. We're taking a US dollar hedge. So it's a nice thematic for people to get an intro into the sector. As I said, it's only 2 to 4% of our portfolios, but it's something that we think is a growth thematic. Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. So this is a question just about esports in general. So can anybody play esports? Or do you have to be a name or a figure or celebrity.
Depends how hard you train.
How many hours you play?
All of a sudden, I'm seeing dollar signs.
I think this is the thing that attracted me to it. That it's a very for kids at home. The LeBron James of NBA is someone that's unobtainable for them to. I'm not 7 foot. I'm going to be a NBA player, but at home they can relate to these people, and that's what I mean. These gamers that get on board, you just have to have a following, and then you need to go. It's just like a sport. They get scouts from around the world that come in and say, "Hey, will you join our team?"
Yeah, right.
It's like a proper.
I've heard that they have these big events. Obviously, it's all virtual, more so now than ever. But that's a really interesting theme. Thanks for bringing it into us.
No
Maybe
problem.
we can explore another one with you at a later date.
Love to. Thanks very much.
Clayton Larcombe joining us from P.A.C Capital.